Sometimes, you think you know what betrayal feels like until it shows up wearing your sister's perfume and your husband's smile. I didn't write this to be dramatic. I wrote it because my hands won't stop shaking, and I need to get it out before I break. This isn't just a story about cheating. It's about the quiet way trust dies, about how love can rot from the inside. While you're still smiling at dinner, I'm not looking for pity. I don't even know what I'm looking for anymore. But if you've ever been blindsided by the people you thought would never hurt you, you'll understand this is what happened. And I swear, every word of it is true. We didn't meet on an app, or at a party, or through some friend of a friend. No, Matt and I met because the universe glitched, literally. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I'd stopped by this local gallery to pick up a sculpture I'd been eyeing for weeks. The front desk told me someone from the back would bring it out, so I followed them into the storage area. The next thing I knew, the metal door clicked shut behind me and didn't open again. Matt was already in there, cataloging pieces for a museum loan, I think. We were both just as confused at first, pushing buttons, trying handles, calling out for help, but nothing worked. The electronic system had malfunctioned, and maintenance was apparently in no rush. We were locked in, surrounded by wrapped-up statues and crates taller than me. I remember laughing because it felt like a weird dream. Matt offered me half of a protein bar from his backpack, the dry, chalky kind, and we sat cross-legged on the cold floor, just waiting. But the waiting turned into talking. We went from awkward introductions to deep-dive life stories in less than an hour. Art history, childhood obsessions, how he once tried to train a goldfish to jump through a hoop. I told him about the time I tried to mail myself a letter and cried when it never came back. It was so easy with him, like I'd known him in another life. There was no pretense, no flirting, just two people thrown together in a weird space and letting the silence between them mean something. 2 hours later, the door finally clicked open. Someone from maintenance apologized. Some wiring issue, they said. But right before we stepped out into the regular world again, Matt turned to me with his small, crooked smile and said, "That was the luckiest accident of my life. Can I have your number?" And I said yes. That's how it started. No games, no swiping left or right, just a locked door, a half-eaten protein bar, and a spark that caught quietly, but never went out. At least, that's what I thought, and from that moment on, we just kind of fit. One lucky accident turned into late-night phone calls, weekend museum dates, slow mornings with coffee and laughter. Before I knew it, we weren't just two people who got stuck in a storage room. We were a couple, a team, a we. We got married, bought a house, built a life I thought was real, and for a while it really truly was. If I had to pick a word to describe those first few years of marriage, it would be easy. Not in the sense that we never argued. We did, about laundry or forgetting to replace the Brita filter or what movie to watch. But it was the kind of arguing where you still feel safe, where you know the love isn't going anywhere. Matt and I settled into life together like we were made for it. We bought a little house with a creaky porch and too many dandelions in the yard, but it was ours. We'd spend Sunday mornings fixing things that didn't really need fixing, or curled up on the couch with bagels and documentaries about people hunting for shipwrecks in the Arctic. It was silly and quiet and good. He made me laugh more than anyone I'd ever known, and every time I really looked at him, I thought, I did it. I found my person. We weren't flashy. We didn't post our lives online or write long anniversary captions. But he remembered the things that mattered, like how I like my tea, hot but not scalding, or how I get anxious when the kitchen's a mess. On bad days, he'd leave little notes in my coat pocket, just a heart, or a doodle of a cat with a speech bubble saying breathe. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and real felt rare. Safe, solid. Our friends would joke that we were annoyingly in sync. We hosted game nights, planned camping trips, cooked big, messy dinners together. Even when things got busy, work, stress, family stuff, the usual, we came back to each other, always. Last year, for my birthday, he surprised me with a weekend in Shenandoah. I remember standing on the overlook as the sun set, his arm around me, thinking, this is happiness. The year before that, he threw me a dinner party with all my favorite people. String lights in the backyard, a homemade cake with lemon frosting, music from our early days playlist playing low in the background. He made me feel seen, like the world could fall apart, and as long as we were side by side, it wouldn't matter. So when he told me just a few weeks ago that he had a mandatory work retreat scheduled for my birthday weekend, I believed him. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? He was my husband, my safe place. But the thing about calm is that sometimes it's just the quiet before something breaks. I didn't know it yet, but a storm was already gathering just outside the edges of my happy little life. It started with something small, something that should have felt normal, just a work trip, just a birthday spent apart. I told myself it was fine, that it didn't matter. But deep down, something didn't feel right. I just didn't know how wrong I was about to be. My birthday's never been a big deal to me, but it was always a big deal to Matt. Every year, no matter how busy, how stressed, how broke we were, he made it special. One time it was a homemade scavenger hunt through the city, another time a backyard picnic under fairy lights with all my favorite people, and last year Shenandoah, a cabin in the mountains, just us. So when he told me 3 weeks before that he had a mandatory work retreat that fell on the same weekend, I tried not to let the disappointment show. He looked genuinely upset about it, kept saying his boss was being a jerk, that he'd tried to get out of it but couldn't. I nodded, said it was okay. He promised we'd celebrate when he got back, maybe even take a mini vacation, he said, just you and me. The night before he left, he gave me a small box. Inside was a pair of earrings, simple, delicate. I wish I could be here, he whispered, kissing my forehead. You deserve more. I helped him pack, folded his polos, made sure he brought his team-building t-shirts, the ones I always made fun of. God, I helped him pack. When he drove off the next morning, I stood in the doorway for a few minutes longer than usual. The silence in the house felt heavier than it should have. Still, I tried to make the best of it. I ordered in from that Thai place he always says is too spicy. Binged a new show, took a long bath, FaceTimed my parents. They sang to me, off-key and adorable, and asked what Matt had planned. I told them about the retreat. My mom looked surprised, but didn't say anything. I wish she had. I wish someone had. The whole weekend felt like one long pause, like I was holding my breath, waiting for something, anything. I kept checking my phone, not for texts exactly, just for something. He'd sent a couple messages, a miss you here, a selfie from what looked like a conference room, but something about them felt hollow, forced, off. Still, I told myself it was fine, that he was tired, busy, that we'd make up for it next weekend. I didn't cry, not really, just felt numb, like I was the only one who remembered it was my birthday. But you know that feeling, when something doesn't sit right but you can't quite name it, like a thread pulling somewhere deep in your chest, tugging, soft at first, almost ignorable, until suddenly it's unraveling everything. That was me, still telling myself it was just work, just bad timing, just one lonely weekend, until Kayla texted me. Someone I barely talked to, just 6 words that changed everything. Hey, call me when you're alone. I should have known then. I should have known what was coming. When Kayla texted me, I didn't think much of it. We weren't close, more like friends of friends. We'd exchanged maybe a handful of words in the last year. So when I saw, hey, call me when you're alone, my stomach tightened just a little, just enough to make me pause. Just enough to make something inside whisper, this isn't nothing. I called her a few minutes later, pacing quietly through the kitchen. She was quiet at first, hesitant, like she was still deciding whether to say it out loud. Then she asked, "Is Matt home?" I said no. Another pause. Then, "I wasn't going to say anything," she whispered, "but I saw something, and I don't know if it means anything, but I recognized Tina." I froze. Tina. My sister? I asked her, recognized her where. Kayla sighed, like she hated being the messenger. One of my mutuals posted a story this weekend. They were at a spa, just a chill pool video. But in the background, I swear to God, it's Matt and your sister, together. My ears started ringing, like a high, sharp whine in the back of my head. I asked her to send it. I don't even remember how my voice sounded. Probably not like mine. 10 seconds. That's all it was. A short, lazy video panning across a pool. Laughter in the background. Summer sunlight. And there, off to the side, almost like an afterthought, was him, Matt, in the stupid vest I helped him pack, his arm around her, Tina, in my earrings, leaning into him like it was the most natural thing in the world. His hand was rubbing slow, gentle circles across her back. They were smiling, laughing, comfortable, intimate, like nothing else existed. Like I didn't exist. I watched that video on loop. At first, I just couldn't believe it. I stared at it thinking there had to be some other explanation. Maybe it was an old clip. Maybe it was just two people who looked like them. But it wasn't. It was them. 100%. No question. And then it hit me. Not just the betrayal, but the casualness of it. They weren't hiding. They weren't sneaking around in the shadows. They were out there, together, in public, on my birthday weekend, at a romantic spa resort. While I was at home alone, while I was still waiting on a text, while I was still making excuses for him. It wasn't just cheating. It wasn't even about sex. It was cruel. It was planned, and it was done with no shame. That 10-second video shattered something in me I didn't even know was breakable. I sat on the kitchen floor, knees pulled to my chest, phone still in my hand, and all I could think was, he didn't just lie. He chose her over me on the one day that was supposed to be mine. I wish that video had been the worst of it. I really do, because even after seeing it, part of me still clung to the idea that maybe there was a reason, some twisted explanation that would make it hurt less. But I didn't get an explanation. I got silence. And silence makes you start digging. What I found next wasn't just betrayal, it was theft. It was lies wrapped in receipts. And it all started with the money my grandmother gave me for my birthday. It was the earrings that triggered it, the ones Matt gave me the night before he left for work. The same earrings I saw Tina wearing in that pool video. I remember staring at the screen, heart pounding and thinking, no way. He didn't just lie. He didn't just cheat. He gave her a gift he said was for me. That alone made me feel sick, but something else was nagging at me. That spa, it looked expensive, like way out of our usual budget expensive. So I did what anyone would do when the pieces stopped making sense. I started digging. I opened our joint bank account and scrolled back. There it was, a withdrawal, $1,200 in cash. Made the Friday before my birthday. No notes, no receipts. It didn't say spa, it didn't say trip, just cash withdrawal. I flipped to his personal account, the one he sometimes used for emergencies. Nothing. That's when I remembered. My birthday money, my grandmother, every year like clockwork, mails me $800 in cash. It's her thing. She says it's so you can treat yourself without feeling guilty. I hadn't deposited it yet. I'd tucked it into my wallet the week before. I ran to my purse, unzipped the side pocket. Gone. Every bill. Gone. I sat there, heart in my throat, shaking, not crying, not yet, just shaking. And then I got angry. I called the spa, pretending I needed a copy of a receipt for reimbursement. The woman on the phone was overly helpful, too helpful. She looked it up under Matt's name, cheerful as ever. Oh, yes, romantic weekend package for two. Let's see. Checked in Friday, checked out Sunday. I didn't even hear the rest. She told me the amount, $1,150, paid in cash and card. Specifically, $800 in cash, $150 from a credit card, and the remaining balance was paid off the next day. It clicked. He used my birthday money for the spa and that $1,200 withdrawal from our joint account. That's what he used to pay off the credit card after... I couldn't breathe. He didn't just lie to me. He didn't just sleep with my sister. He stole from me, from my birthday, from the one person who actually thought of me that weekend, my grandmother. It was violation layered on violation. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was cruelty, calculated, cold, And that was the moment something inside me broke in a way I knew couldn't be fixed. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to break something. But I didn't. I waited. I waited for him to come home. Waited with the screenshots, the receipt, the video playing on loop like a weapon made of truth. And when he finally walked through that door, smiling, tired, normal, I didn't say a word. I just pressed play. Because sometimes silence doesn't mean forgiveness. Sometimes it's the sound of the last piece of your trust collapsing. When Matt walked through the door that night, he looked relaxed, holding a little souvenir bag and that smug, "Sorry I missed your birthday" smile like it could erase everything. "Hey," he said. "I brought you something." I didn't respond, just held up my phone. The video already queued up. I pressed play. His face dropped the second he saw it. Eyes locked on the screen. No blinking, no denial, just silence. And then, as if someone flipped a switch, he started fumbling. "It's not what it looks like," he said. "She was going through a rough time. I was just trying to be there for her." I said nothing, just reached into my pocket and pulled out the spa confirmation email, slid it across the table. He didn't touch it, didn't even glance at it. He knew, so I asked softly, "Where's my birthday money, Matt?" That's when everything changed. His whole body shifted, not into shame, but into something else, something harder. He didn't try to lie again, didn't try to backpedal. He just shrugged. "Yeah," he said. "I took it, so what?" My mouth went dry. He leaned against the counter like we were having some casual conversation, like he hadn't just admitted to stealing from me, like he hadn't just spent my birthday with my sister. And then he laughed. Actually laughed. "You never deserved a gift anyway," he said. "At least she knows how to make a man feel appreciated." I felt something in me collapse. Not like before, not the soft ache of heartbreak. This was sharper, deeper, final. Like everything I thought I knew was just ash in my hands. I didn't yell, didn't scream. I turned, walked straight to our bedroom, closed the door behind me. I could hear him outside, muttering to himself, pacing. Then a phone call. I knew who he was calling, probably warning her, telling her I knew, making plans, covering tracks, but I didn't care anymore. Not in that moment. Because I wasn't mourning the marriage anymore. I was mourning me, the version of me who trusted him, who defended him, who believed his love was real. That version was God. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of how everything had come undone so fast. By morning, I still hadn't cried. I felt too hollow to cry. But I knew one thing. I couldn't carry this alone anymore. I needed someone else to know. So I did the one thing I'd been dreading. I told my mom. And from there, everything exploded. I didn't even know what to say to her. Tina, my sister. So I didn't. I just forwarded the text she sent me, that pathetic, hollow, "I'm sorry, it just happened" message, to my mom, along with a simple line, "Ask Tina what this is about." I didn't have the strength to explain. I didn't have the words. I just needed someone else to carry it for a minute. Less than an hour later, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Missed calls, voicemails, group chat notifications blowing up. My mom, my dad, even Robert, my older brother. I didn't answer at first. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think. People, except... Then finally I picked up. My mom was already crying. Her voice shook like she was the one who'd been betrayed. She said she called Tina the moment she saw the message. Tina admitted everything. Didn't even try to lie. It's been going on for a while. My mom whispered. They caught feelings. I sat in silence, numb. Then I told her the rest. The spa video, the earrings, the birthday money, all of it. She went quiet. "Do you want me to come over?" she asked. I said no. I didn't want to be held. I didn't want comfort. I wanted space. Then my dad called. He didn't cry. He didn't say much. Just, "Are you safe? Do you need anything?" And finally, voice cracking, "I'm so sorry." That broke me. I hadn't cried all day, but hearing my dad's voice break, That shattered something I didn't even know I'd been holding together. A few hours later, our family group chat exploded. Tina told everyone, but not the truth. Her version. The tragic love story version. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. We tried to fight it. It just happened. Robert, bless him, went off. Called her selfish, delusional, said she was destroying our family for a man who wasn't worth the shoelaces on her sneakers. My mom replied with 6 stunned face emojis and nothing else. My dad, just one line, "I'm profoundly disappointed in you." I muted the chat after that. I couldn't take more emotional whiplash. Couldn't keep watching the people I love break into pieces over something I didn't even choose. Because now, it wasn't just my heart that got wrecked. It was all of us. Thought that was it, that the worst part was over, that the truth, no matter how ugly, had finally come to light. But the thing about betrayal, it rarely travels alone. Sometimes it brings receipts, literal ones. And what I found next wasn't just about love. It was about money, control, manipulation. It was about how long he'd been living a double life, right under my nose. Couldn't sit in that house anymore, not with his voice echoing in the walls. Not with her photo still smiling from the shelves like nothing had happened. So I called a friend, someone I trusted, someone who worked at our bank. I didn't tell her everything, just said things were rocky and I needed help reviewing our finances. She didn't ask questions, just logged in and pulled up everything she could. And what I saw made my stomach twist. The spa trip, that was just the beginning. There were dozens of transactions labeled groceries, but no groceries ever showed up in our fridge. Weekend work trips that didn't match his calendar. Uber rides at 2 a.m. from neighborhoods we've never lived in. He'd opened 3 credit cards in just the last year, all in his name. 2 of them had me listed as an authorized user. But here's the thing, I never got a card, never saw a statement. Turns out he had the settings changed so all emails and physical mail went directly to him. I didn't even know that was possible. He told the bank not to issue me a physical card for simplicity, and the bank agreed. Because why would they think otherwise? I sat there listening to my friend explain it all, and I felt this slow, rising heat behind my eyes. Not sadness, not disbelief, rage. I asked for transaction history. She printed everything. $300 necklace, 3 days before Tina's birthday, hotel stays in towns I've never been to, dinner tabs over $200 for 2 people. He wasn't just cheating, he was funding it, hiding it, lying to my face every time he said, "We should budget better." I went home with a stack of papers and a fury I didn't know I was capable of. The next morning, I confronted him, and like always, he started defensive. "You're controlling, I just needed some freedom, it's not what it looks like, I didn't yell, I didn't even blink." I just dropped the statements in front of him and said, "So which emergency required a $450 sushi dinner and a king suite at a mountain lodge?" His face paled, then twisted, then nothing. He called me insane. So I grabbed his favorite mug, the one with Darth Vader, and smashed it against the wall. "Now I'm insane," I said, "and now you're broke." He stormed out. I didn't stop him. Because this time I wasn't the one falling apart. This time, I was done being blindsided. This time, I was taking control. After that, something shifted in me. The crying stopped. The begging, gone. Even the anger started to fade, replaced by something colder, clearer. I knew what I had to do. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because love might make you blind, but betrayal, it teaches you how to see everything. And I finally saw my way out. I used to think endings were loud, explosive. Turns out some of them are silent, calculated, like packing a box while your husband's at work, like watching the clock and knowing exactly how much time you have before he walks through the door. I started small, important documents, sentimental things, clothes I actually wear, my grandmother's locket, a framed photo of my dad holding me as a baby, things I knew I'd want in the next life. The one without Matt. I opened a new bank account at a completely different bank, set up direct deposit for my paycheck, forwarded all mail to a friend's address for now. I called my cousin Jason, the one who owns a rental property across town that's in the middle of renovation. I didn't even have to explain the whole story. He just said, "It's yours. No pressure on rent, just get out." I cried after that call. But it wasn't a breakdown. It was relief. The kind of cry you have when you see the exit door after being trapped too long. The next day, I booked a consultation with a divorce lawyer. She was calm, sharp, professional. She didn't flinch when I told her everything. The affair, the money, the lies. She gave me a checklist. What to gather, what to copy, what to freeze. She told me not to leave the house permanently just yet, not until certain legal pieces were in place. So for now, I moved quietly, carefully. Matt had no idea. He still walked around like we were just going through something. He left for work, ate dinner in silence, occasionally tried to make small talk like that would fix it. He even ordered an expensive watch online, said it was for work meetings, to look the part, $2,100. Paid from our joint account. I happened to be home the day it was delivered, signed for it, held the box in my hands, and then I returned it. Pulled up the purchase record, matched it with our account, and took it to the store. The refund hit within the hour. I moved my half of the money into my new account before he even noticed. That night, I sat in our kitchen, sipping tea I no longer shared, watching him scroll through his phone with a face I no longer recognized. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel powerless. I felt ready. The morning he left for his real work conference, I knew it was time. I stood in the doorway, watched him fumble with his keys, mumble something about flight delays, and then he was gone. No kiss, no goodbye. Just the sound of a door closing behind him. I waited 10 minutes, then I moved. Box by box, room by room. I took only what was mine. Clothes, documents, books, my journals, my mugs, the art prints I bought before I even knew his name. I didn't touch the furniture. I didn't want it, except for one thing. My grandmother's antique reading chair. I wrapped it in 2 blankets and slid it into Jason's borrowed SUV like I was rescuing a piece of myself. I left the bed we shared, the knife set we fought over during Black Friday sales, even the coffee machine he swore was too complicated but used anyway. Let him keep it all. On the kitchen table, I placed the divorce papers, neat, signed. On top of them, I left a note, handwritten, sharp. You were right. I don't know how to keep a man happy. But apparently, neither does my sister. Next to it, I set down my wedding ring and the house key. Then I walked out. No slam. No scream. Just one long exhale and the creak of the front door behind me. That night at Jason's place, I sat on the floor surrounded by boxes. The silence was strange, but clean. I didn't check my phone. Didn't want to hear the panic, didn't need to read the guilt, because I knew what was coming, the calls, the outrage, the desperate little lies dressed as apologies, but none of it mattered anymore, because for the first time in a long, long time, I wasn't waiting for him to come home. I was already free, I thought. Leaving would be the end of it. Close the door, disappear, rebuild. But life has a way of circling back, because while I was busy picking up my pieces, they were just starting to watch theirs fall apart. And let me tell you, I didn't lift a finger. Didn't scream. Didn't even have to speak. The truth, it did all the work for me. And what came next wasn't revenge. It was justice. It didn't take long. The day after I walked away, my phone blew up, as expected. Missed calls from Matt, voicemails that spiraled from confused to angry to pleading. Texts from Tina that I didn't bother to open. I ignored it all. Instead, I forwarded everything to my lawyer. By noon, her office had received a call from his lawyer. Apparently, Matt had discovered the papers, the note, the missing half of our home. He was willing to talk, but it was too late for talk. And I wasn't the only one who thought so. Turns out, his job had a strict code of conduct. No fraternizing with family members of clients. No public scandals. And Tina, she wasn't just my sister. She was the sister of a board member's spouse. It spread fast, whispers, screenshots, quiet HR meetings. By the end of the week, he was suspended pending review. By the next, he was out. Tina didn't fare much better. After my brother kicked her out, apparently she'd turned his guest room into a Sephora graveyard and burned a hole in his carpet. She started couch surfing. Friends took her in, but not for long. She cried, drank, played victim, told everyone it just happened, that we didn't mean to fall in love. But people get tired of broken records, especially when they're off-key. Last I heard, she was living back at my parents' house, sleeping in her old room, eating dinner in silence. Dad barely speaks to her. Mom tries to keep the peace, but her eyes say everything. I didn't need to lift a finger, didn't post anything, didn't shame them publicly, because life did it for me, quietly, precisely, one consequence at a time, the final touch. An email from Matt's company's legal department. They'd heard claims were being made online, wanted to fact-check. I didn't get dramatic, just sent them a short professional reply, with one redacted spa receipt, just enough, no threats, no emotion, just facts. An hour later, Otto replied. That was the last time I ever said his name in an official capacity, because by then, he was already irrelevant, and me, I was free, still hurt, still healing, but free. It's strange how healing sneaks up on you. Not in grand moments, not with fireworks or some perfect Instagram quote. Sometimes it looks like standing in your new apartment, barefoot on cold tile, unpacking a mug you actually love, one that doesn't have his taste all over it. Sometimes it's a night where you make dinner for one, and it tastes good, not because the food is perfect, but because it's yours. 2 months after I left, I signed a lease on a little one-bedroom with soft light and a tiny balcony where I keep a stubborn basil plant. It's not much, but every inch of it is mine. No ghosts. No second toothbrush. Thankfully, no lies shoved in drawers or taped under bank accounts. Just me. I started cooking again. Signed up for a meal kit because I got tired of takeout and pity. Burned the first 2 dinners. Laughed alone in my kitchen. It felt good. I deleted my old Instagram. Too many memories, too many smiling lies. I made a new one, private, quiet, just for real friends. The kind who don't ask, have you talked to him? The kind who drop off wine and plant cuttings and sit with you in silence when that's all you can handle. I went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just curious. Then, there was one, a radiologist, gentle eyes, good listener. He knows the rough outline of what happened, doesn't push for the details. We're taking it slow, so slow it almost feels like standing still. But after everything, stillness is a gift. My brother Robert, the one who always kept his distance growing up, now calls every Sunday. His wife texts me photos of their dog in ridiculous sweaters. They say healing isn't linear, and they're right. There are days I still flinch at the sound of my old ringtone, days I still wake up expecting to see his back turned to me in bed, but more and more, there are days I don't think about him at all, and that's the quiet I fought for, the one I earned, the one I'll never give up again. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about what happens when the people closest to you, the ones who knew your heart, your softness, your silence, choose to break you anyway. It's about the quiet kind of survival, the strength it takes to stand back up, not with vengeance, but with clarity, not to win someone back, but to win yourself back. Because sometimes, the worst kind of heartbreak doesn't come from losing love. It comes from realizing who never deserved it in the first place. And healing, it starts the moment you stop chasing closure and start choosing peace.